Alright, here's a fun treat for you. This is connecting to the Xbox Kinect. Now, first thing you gotta do, and before I get to any code, is let's go to google.com. Now let's type in Kinect SDK, and that's all you need. The very first link that it pops up is the Microsoft Kinect development thing. And so we want the SDK package. So we're going to download the SDK and get the latest SDK and click there. And then it'll ask to save. Now it's about 221 megabytes for this version. It's a 1.5 that I'm using right here. So I already have it, so I don't need it. Now that will extract and install to program files, and then down to Microsoft SDKs, Connect 1.5, and then assemblies, and the connect.dll is a thing that we're looking for. So now that we know where that is, let's start making our code here. Oh yeah, also, before that, when you install that SDK toolkit, it will install the drivers for the Xbox Kinect. And if you go into your device manager, which is under Control Panel, Systems, then Device Manager, you'll see here the Xbox Kinect and all of its goodness right there. Just want to point that out. That's what you should see. There's a lot of other third-party kind of what are they called, drivers for this that work with their kind of software for hacking the Xbox. But in this case, we're going to use the True Blue Microsoft SDK stuff. And it's really stinking good, I gotta say. I like it a lot. So, anyways, back to our code. We have a form here, a simple form, and a picture box. It's a 640 by 480 picture box. And I also have a timer that is an interval of 100 and is always set to true. So, now the next thing we need to do is go and add the Microsoft DLL file to our program here. So, if to add that, we go to View and then to Object Browser. If you do not have Object Browser, go to Tools and then Settings and then Expert Settings, because you, sir or ma'am, are an expert. So let's go to Object Browser, and let's not worry about OpenTK right now. Let's get rid of that. You click on this little dot 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 arrow button here, and that brings up this nice little window that shows you all the stuff. So let me remove another project. That's to come later. But now I want to go and search for the previously found Microsoft DLL file. So program files, Microsoft SDKs, Connect 1.5, assemblies, and Connect. And then we're going to come down here and add, and then OK. Now this will add this to our object browser, but not yet to our program. And this is so important right here. You have to click this little button that says add reference. Click. All right, successfully added. Thank you. All right. Now, one more thing. We got this done. We're going to go back to this file we want, this DLL file. Click and drag. And you can put this guy right here in the program. Just drag and drop that guy in. You can also right click on here and hit add existing file and pull it in like that. The importance of this is that this DLL needs to go with the program. This is so vital. I made some webcam videos a while back, and a lot of people were saying, you know, my thing isn't working. And more often than not, the DLL file was missing. And this is the really important key here. You put it in there, and then you come down here to copy to output, and you hit copy if newer. That is incredibly important. Do not forget that step. All right, we got that done. Now, code time. Go into our code. I am not able to write this all out by hand myself. I had to pre-write it ahead of time because I can't just do that right out like that. So the first thing I want to do is import the Microsoft.Connect, and that'll give us the names of all this stuff. Now see, the purpose of imports, if I take it out and I click out, it doesn't know what Connect sensor is. It doesn't know what a color image frame is. It just doesn't know because I haven't told it the namespace I want to work with yet. So I re-add it and everything's happy again. Alright, so I gotta define three things here. First is the Connect, and I just call it KINS as a Connect sensor. And then the images as a color image frame, and then the bitmap that I'm going to be sending to my picture box, pick color, and specifically 640 by 480 using the RGB pixel format. All right, so form load happens, and once the form has loaded, we're going to find that Kinect now. And we're going to say now for each potential sensor in connect sensors, plural, we're going to see if this particular potential sensor is connected. If so, then I'm going to set kins as that potential sensor. And then it's going to exit the for, which will drop it right out and get done. If, however, there is more or whatever else, it'll keep going until it finds one. If it can find one, make sure it's plugged in. So now, continuing down, I'm going to set the kins, the Kinect, dot color stream, and color stream is the actual video stream. There's also depth stream, which is the infrared depth map that this thing returns. There's also skeleton frame, and that's even cooler, and that's another tutorial for later. We're just telling it enable, and we're saying RGB resolution of 640 by 480 for frames per second of 30. And now I'm going to add a handler, and if you haven't used add handler before, what it does is it registers an event in your form that when this event happens, go to this function. So if the color frame is ready, go to the function color ready, and then we're going to start our Kinect. Scrolling down, this is the color ready function. It wants to know a sender, and it wants to give me a color image frame event argument. And what that is, it is a color image frame as we defined up here at the top for images. So now, once the color frame is ready, store that color frame in images. Nice and simple. Now, I could take this and use this as my loop to constantly grab the image. I have found, though, that when grabbing both color and depth and whatever else, that this happens so often and it overwrites each other and it just isn't happy. So all I want to do in this function right here is just simply grab my image frame and then use a timer, the timer I specified earlier, to say this is the loop of what I want. So here's that timer. Remember, it's 100 milliseconds, it's always on. And I'm going to call the color method, which is this guy down here, and after that's done, and returns from that, it's going to put the resultant pick color image into my picture box. Okay, so this is where the magic happens. There is a long array of bytes that comes from the camera, and the same thing for the depth map as well, which again is another tutorial. But this long array of bytes doesn't make sense as an image. So what we got to do is make it make sense as an image. And so what I'm doing here is I'm grabbing a previous tutorial I did, which is called like fast bitmap rendering or something like that. And it's basically this big chunk right here that you can edit pixel by pixel by pixel an image. So what we're doing is we're going to say this pixel as a long array of bytes for the length of the pixel bytes. And if the images, the color image frame, is not nothing, because sometimes it can be, then we want to copy the image data into that array. Now we have an array of bytes. Using the code I got here, the fast image rendering, I'll link that so that you can check that out to get a more in-depth of what's happening here. But the basic overview of it is that we're breaking down the image into its bytes, and I'm going a loop here to say for each byte with the index of something I call the second counter. There was a first counter, I removed it, so it's a second counter now. It's a story behind that, don't worry about it. But I'm saying the RGB values going into the image are temp blue, temp green, and temp red, and temp alpha. Temp alpha, always 255. But my temp red, I'm pulling from the pixel string at the index of the current pixel, the temp red, the temp green, and the temp blue, from these certain spots, and dumping them all into the image, and then finishing the image up down here. I know it's a pretty poor explanation, but there you go. So now let's hit play and see what happens. Holy cow, it's me. Look at that. Ah, that's awesome. So I wish I could show the Kinect on itself, but I can't. I don't have a mirror ready. What can I say? So the something else I need to add about this. You may notice about my computer, it has Windows 7 on it. Microsoft Kinect, as far as I know, can only handle or be handled by Windows 7. XP, I have it. I haven't tried this on it yet. You might get lucky. I can't guarantee it. The second thing is there is a power supply for this guy. This end is a USB, a straight up USB to my computer. See? Computer end. This is the Kinect cable. I can't remove it now, or else I'll lose you. So, if you have a Kinect, then this is an orange USB-looking thing with about 8 pins on it, 4 of which are the USB, and another 4 are for the power because this thing actually has a tilt up and down. If you have a Kinect, you'll already know that. And then this last wire goes to a power supply. Now, about the power supply. If you have an older generation Xbox that you have a Kinect for, you probably already have the power supply and you're probably already good to go. If you have a newer generation Xbox with a plug that supports that orange USB proprietary thing, then you may need to go out and buy a power supply. I called up GameStop. They said theirs is about $30, and so I went in to buy one because I was borrowing my friend's Kinect. Actually, you can kind of see it as I move you around. It's on top of the TV. That's my friend's Kinect. I've got to return it to him. So I got my own right here. Excellent. Anyways, I went to the store to get this Kinect, and they said the Kinect by itself is $70. If you want a Kinect plus a power supply, it's $80. $10 more and the Kinect. I think it's a great deal for all the fun you can have with Kinect. And trust me, there is so much fun you can have. I'm going to make more tutorials and you're going to love it. So anyways, that's how to connect to the Kinect. Have fun with that.